Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Achua and in this video I want to talk about Empire Victor from Khadlaj. That is a fragrance I have spoken about severally on this channel. However, there's been a bit of controversy about this particular Empire Victor. When I received my bottle, I never knew anything about reformulation. All I knew was Empire Victor, and I gave my description of what it smelled like. In my description, have always referred it to as a woody, like a barnyardy, a bit of a funk, a bit of a skunk with some vanilla, that sultry, dark, dirty vanilla oud, sexy vibes, matured vibes. Until I came across a few other videos and the descriptions were entirely, different. And whenever I watched those videos, I was like, what the hell are these people describing, without knowing these fragrances, this particular fragrance had been reformulated. So it cast a lot of doubts, in my head. I was like, people claim there was no oud. Others, for me, for instance, I knew that there is oud in this fragrance. It was quite confusing until I read under one of my comments that Simin had clarified this whole confusion, that she spoke to Khadlaj and they confirmed that they have reformulated Khadlaj Empire Victor, and that made a lot of sense, and I think now everybody knows it's being reformulated, the old and the new. But in this video, I've been able to get my hands on the new formulation, whereas I have the old formulation in the 100 ml, but I got a decant of the new formulation. And I want to compare these two fragrances, to see the differences. The new one has been known to be that lemon vanilla one, whereas this one is totally different. So when you look at the new structure for these two fragrances, I'm going to start off with the old one, which has caramel at the top, floral notes, sweet notes in the middle, musk, oud, and vanilla at the base. And then in the new formulation, it has vanilla, caramel, and lemon at the top. It has jasmine, vanilla blossom, cedarwood in the middle. Then vanilla bean, powdery musk, and then sandalwood at the base. So I think the only notes they share in common are going to be the vanilla, the musk, and then caramel. Those are the three that they share in common. But these two fragrances, the old and the new, do not smell alike in any way. I don't even feel like they are flankers, and I don't know why Khadlaj will reformulate something and it doesn't even give you like the slightest resemblance of the original, version. And apparently this has been likened to Ali's Vanilla Oudgazim. I think that is a name, and this has also been likened, the new formulation has been likened to Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex. Those are both fragrances I have not come across personally, but let me tell you what I think these two fragrances smell alike. First of all, they don't smell alike in any way. I maintain what I said about this. This is going to give you that very matured, dirty vanilla, dirty barnyardy, oud, skunky nuance or vibes. It is a gourmand scent. Both of these fragrances are gourmand, but this one feels more creamy, much more intense, much more potent. This is going to be one of those very polarizing gourmand scents with heavy presence of an animalic touch, and one of the only few fragrances I can compare this fragrance to, although they don't smell alike, but they give off very similar vibes, almost the same experience from my experience or in my opinion. And that is going to be December Vanilla by Paris Corner. They are not the same, but they give off very similar nuances, both like very matured, polarizing, skunky oud. This one doesn't have patchouli, but the oud here is quite similar, quite dirty, quite, animalic, barnyardy, almost, Middle Eastern sort of vibes. Those are the same sort of vibes I get in this, But when it comes to the new formulation, you're going to get a very clean, fluffy, fresh lemon, with some very fluffy vanilla. It's a triple vanilla at the top, the middle, and then at the base. The vanilla is fluffy, light, pretty. It doesn't scream sexy. It is more of a very pretty, light, airy, fluffy vanilla essence. Even vanilla essence, in my opinion, it doesn't come across as heavy and dense as in the OG first Empire Victor. This one is like quite dense and heavy, but this one is more of a fluffy, light, airy vanilla. That is where the first difference comes. Then this one is also this one has the addition of the lemon, and the lemon here is quite candied, like a candied lemon sort of nuance. And this also reminds me of quite a number of fragrances. I think I remember watching Georgette's Fragrance World, and at the time she did her review, I had not come across a new formulation. So it was one of those few videos I watched and I was like, what the hell is she talking about? Because that is not what I smell when it comes to my bottle of Empire, Victor. She described it and compared it to some fragrances, and I totally agree with her when it comes to the new formulation. So I think the old formulation is dated before April 2024, and the newer ones are dated April 2024, and I think that is the only batch available after April 2024. But my bottle is dated January 2024. So I agree totally with Georgette's Fragrance World when it came to her description of the new formulation. That is what she has, I believe, which is the lemon, caramel, sandalwood, the triple dose of vanilla, without the oud. This is quite similar to a number of fragrances that Georgette even mentioned in her video, and this includes Caramel Cascade. It gives you a very similar nuance, with that caramel, but the milk here, there's no milk in this one, so just replace the caramel, the milk in this one with the lemon, that candied lemon. Then you are getting something quite close to Empire Victor, the new formulation. One other fragrance is quite similar to, in my opinion, is going to be Sweet Tooth from Sabrina Carpenter. I find this and Caramel Cascade, among other fragrances, quite similar, so these two are quite similar to me. Very pretty, like pretty girly vanilla, sort of, a bit of a gourmand, but not like an intense vanilla, it's vanilla gourmand, but to me, it is not as gourmandy as the old formulation, the original one with the heavy, dense vanilla and then the oud. That one to me seemed much more gourmand in a way. I don't know, but from my experience, that is how I see this one. This one is more intense and dense, polarizing, in your face, dirty, matured vanilla with the oud, whereas this one is more of a light, pretty girl, younger sort of version. Aside those two fragrances, Caramel Cascade and then Sabrina Carpenter's Sweet Tooth, one other fragrance that this Empire Victor, the new formulation, drives down to is going to be something like Nile Queen from Arabiat Prestige House. There's something about the dry down of the new formulation which reminds me of that slight lemony incensey feel of the Nile Queen. There's something about it. They dry down quite similar, they sort of remind me of each other, but not entirely the same, so take, for example, Caramel Cascade that a lot of us are used to, maybe not everybody has this one, but this is fairly very common, so any of those, take this one, for example, you're going to get the opening, the mid and everything of Sweet Tooth or even Caramel Cascade from the opening and the mid of Empire Victor, the new formulation. But the dry down of this is not going to give you entirely this. It is going to give you something in the region of a combination of Caramel Cascade or this one with a hint of that slightly dark vanilla, spicy dark vanilla, lemony, frankincense vibes of Nile Queen. That is the best I can describe this particular one. It doesn't come off as very dark and sultry and matured as the old formulation with the January date. This one is more of that, more wearable, more. They are both mass appealing depending on how you are, who is smelling it. To me, I think they are both mass appealing, but the new formulation is much more tamed, much more easy to digest, as opposed to the older formulation, which can come across as a bit polarizing, just like the December vanilla, which to me, it's not the most mass appealing, but if you sort of understand that fragrance, it's one of the best fragrances ever. So I think that is what I can say about these two. This one is more of a girly, pretty girl vibes, light, airy, girly with a slight dark sort of, um frankincense, lemony nuance of the Nile Queen I get at the dry down. Whereas this one is going to give you a punch, like something like in your face, gourmand, sultry, dirty, grown woman, sexy, dense, intense, vanilla, a bit of a funky, banyan oud, it's quite dirty. There's something dirty and sexy and everything, I prefer in the fragrance about the old formulation. Whereas this one is like the clean version, like the PG. This is the PG version, and that one is the 18 plus, and that is the best way I can describe both fragrances. They both serve different purposes. I don't think I will not describe this one as sexy per se. I'm going to describe the old formulation as sexy, whereas this one is more everyday, more easy to wear, more, maybe a little more sultry, but sultry is the best description, but not like sexy in your face. No, just like Caramel Cascade and Sabrina Carpenter, I don't find them sexy in any way. But when it comes to the older formulation, it's going to give you that, dirty, vanilla, dirty, banyan sort of vibes, in a very seductive, sexy way, So those are the differences I find in them. I can say they are different. You can own both, you can own both because they're going to serve different purposes. Maybe this one for like more of a daytime sort of, vibes. And the old formulation is going to give you that sultry, nice time, although to me, I wear it during the day. I don't find anything too strange about that. Just like my December vanilla, I wear it throughout the day and it works for me, So it depends on what you are looking out, your level of tolerance, what you gravitate towards, but they are not the same. They smell entirely different from each other. This is going to give you grown, sexy, matured. This is going to give you fluffy vanilla, lemon, twist to it, with a slight woody, powdery, nuance, but much more easy to digest, whereas this one can be a bit more in your face and polarizing, So that is going to be it for these two. And if there's anything that, this also is not like a new one because it's a decant and I believe it's sat and macerated, so it's now in its full potential of what it really is, So I don't think I needed to let this one sit for a while because I got a decant from Tell's Perfume GH and I think it's macerated, So I'm getting the full potential or the full realistic whatever of the end value, of this fragrance. So comparing it to this, I think it is appropriate because this has also macerated for over 2 months at this particular time. So that is going to be it for these two. I wouldn't know how to advise as to purchasing these two fragrances. It all depends on your taste, So what you can do is maybe ask your vendor which formulation she or he has, and based on your preference, you can go for it. But both are phenomenal. I would say you can own both. They are going to serve different purposes. But if I were to choose just one and one only, it's going to be the old formulation. Like, obviously, it's going to be the old formulation. And I will just use this one as my simple, everyday, pretty girl, gourmand set, So that is all I have for you today. And I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. And I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.